So when it comes to clothing, everyone has their own taste. Obviously, you guys all have your own taste of what you like. Me, I like my shirts to fit a certain way, maybe even like the one I have on right now. But then I go to a store and I try it on, I don't like it, then I start blaming my body. Maybe I got fat, I drink too much, blah, 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 blah. The shirt just doesn't fit right. So our next guest, he has a solution for this very problem. A solution that has taken him halfway around the world and made him an honorary consul for Sri Lanka in the process. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Jan Huijman. So Jan, you've made a huge impact on the lives of the people who make your business possible in Sri Lanka. So I wanted to begin, I know you're going to talk about this in your presentation, but I want to ask you, how does your impact make you feel when you look at it?
Well, I've been traveling to Sri Lanka over the last 8 years so many times, I lost count of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many people there, and I think a lot about that. And it means so much to me. It may sound a bit naive maybe, but it's become kind of a second home country to me. And I just love the country, the scenery, the warm and open people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have invested in the country, and it turned out to be an Asian country.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place where you can trust people, and you can do investment, and there's a one-stop shop, board of investment, where you can do business easily. So I found out that Sri Lanka is a fantastic place to invest, and it's an even better place if you want to go there as a tourist.
Okay, so you feel like you've made a good impact on the employees that you have over there?
Yeah, I will talk a bit about that.
Okay, I won't spoil it then.
And so I'll come back to that. But yeah, I think that's part of our values in the company, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will share that.
Yeah, we're super excited here. So we're going to let you have the stage now, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And hi, everybody. I've talked to a lot of you over the last 2 days, and I'm honored to be on this side of the stage now, or on stage, actually. I will share with you over the next 20 minutes our way of doing business, and I've been asked to talk about, share some success factors, of course, internationalization, our manufacturing unit in Sri Lanka, and I will also cover some CSR. So in 20 minutes, that will be a quick ride, but bear with me, I will take you there. So before we do that, it would be interesting to know, are you familiar with Tailor Store at all? How many have visited Tailor Store, the website? Ah, thank you. Then I may ask, how many of you have Tailor Store clothes in your wardrobe? Good. And how many of you are wearing or did wear them yesterday? Here? Stefan. Thank you. That's good to know. So I will take you on a trip into our world of e-commerce. And that trip will take us all the way to Sri Lanka. And let's see if I can manage this. What we do is let our customers design their clothes online. And how did we come up with this? This is in a way our business mission, and it's maybe an odd way of expressing a mission, affärsidé in Swedish. But it's actually the foundation for why we have a business. There are too many people dressed in mass-produced uniforms with bad fit, and it turns out that standard sizes, this is research, scientific research, standard sizes only fit 75% of the, or 25% doesn't fit into standard sizes. So there is a huge opportunity for us to bring this service, design your clothes online. And going right into who we are, we were founded back in 2003, my two owner colleagues, Magnus and Mats Ola. Actually, they have an hour ago or so landed, coming back from Sri Lanka. They founded this company and went commercial in February 2004. Started from absolutely scratch, and if you ask Magnus and Mats Ola, so why did you do this? Well, we wanted to go into e-commerce. We saw the opportunity, but they didn't know anything about clothing or shirts, and they say, if we had known what we know today about making clothes, we would never have dared to do this. So this is part of entrepreneurship. You need to be daring, and my two colleagues are indeed. And that's part of our values in the company. We try to move ahead and do things. I'll come back to that. We have some 230,000 customers today, 2 million visitors roughly on the site. We deliver more than 100,000 units, most of them tailored clothing, but also some ties and napkins and underwear, and so. That's a lot of fabric. And turnover, we are small. Listening to Mr. India yesterday, I was so impressed. So I'm very humble when I talk about our size here. The growth that he presented was absolutely amazing. But we are proud of being where we are. In 10 years, we have come up to some 51 million kroner. And we export more than 60%. I will come back to that later. And we're in Helsingborg, where we're based with our headquarters. We are 19 full-time equivalent, 16 people in the office, and then some customer service part-time. And again, our manufacturing unit, we are more than 450 people employed today. So that's the company. And just briefly, I'm so proud that I can show you a slide like this. It's kind of a confirmation that our business model, it works. And we have these little statues and glass things in the office. It kind of creates a good feeling. I want to share with you some success factors and try to condense it down to 3 areas. First of all, and this is an area we've heard from Jesper and we heard from Mike Mikael yesterday and from the other speakers. Internal competence. We decided early on that we want to be independent as much as possible when it comes to the core process in the business. And how do you become independent of external services? Well, you hire the best people. And you develop these processes internally. So I think that is, if you look at successful companies, you will find that there are good people, and you have to have it. You have to internal competence, so you're not dependent on external expertise all the time. And showing you some, not everything, but a few examples of that. I think we have an excellent site. We're listening to the customers. And over the years, I don't know if we're into the 5th or 6th or 7th version right now, but what I'm showing you here is the shirt designer that will come up live in a couple of weeks' time. I will not go into the details of that because that's not the intention. The point here is that having internal competence, we can develop responsive sites, we can develop new functions, and every script, every single pixel, every picture on our site is developed internally. And that has given us a huge advantage and competitive edge. We are quick, we take our own decisions. I often when I talk to my colleagues, I say, do realize that this is luxury. We decide everything ourselves. We're not depending on anyone else. And that is a great feeling. Another example is, which I will come back to in another slide, absolutely one of the most important contributors to our success is that we decided early on to have our production in-house. We own it and we operate it. And there is an image from the skrädderi, as we say in Svenska, from the tailor, what is that in English? Tailor house, factory. I will come back to that. Another area which is absolutely core process is, of course, the marketing and marketing communications. Here we have done that all the time. We've done that internally. We have today, since a couple of years back, an excellent team with very skilled people sitting somewhere here around you, managing that. I will not go through the picture on the right-hand side, but that's an illustration of what they manage every day. SEO, SEM, social network, CRM, and the way that interact, and all of you know so much about this. My point here is that you need to have good people in-house to manage that. That being said, which one was mine? This. That being said, this is an area where we do buy some expertise from the outside because it's sometimes more rational to do it and you get even better quality. But so we work with Top Visible, thanks Maria and the team. We work with Compost for CRM systems and so forth. But the point here is that if you have excellent talent in-house, you can ask those difficult questions. You can manage the processes. You are a much more professional buyer of services from the outside. Another critical success factor and strategy from day one has been pricing. We strive to have comparably low prices throughout the entire range, and we want to have a very low entry level. So our lowest priced shirt, we sell at 299 Swedish krona, and that's maybe too low. But that is to bring in new customers, because there is a threshold, of course. You come into the site, and we demand a lot from our customers. We want them to take measurements and design and to take a lot of decisions. So we want to lower the threshold of pricing. And that, I think, has been extremely important for us. Moving on, a third area, key success factor is company culture. And what is company culture? Can you buy that on the internet? Maybe not. That is something you build over time, as I'm sure you know in your own companies. You walk the talk, it becomes what you want it to be if you indeed walk the talk. I believe in clarity, I believe in availability. As a manager, as a colleague, you have to be there for your partners and for your colleagues. I believe in a holistic view, so you share as much as possible with everybody so you can see the whole picture. And also believe in a lot of room for creativity and testing. And I liked what I heard before from Jesper. That was something to think about. 50% of the working time freed up so you can create things. I'll bring that one with me. Another part of the company culture that is important to us is, in Swedish, we try to be schyssta, which I guess is in English being fair, being okay with colleagues and treat them fairly, with customers, being generous, treat them in a fair manner, with suppliers and the society at large. And it includes environment, which I will come back to. So that's one of our core values in the culture that we try to develop. And I want to illustrate that with some images on this picture, which illustrates a temple. 5 years ago, we were asked by the monk of a village called Moraveva in the northeast of Sri Lanka if we could help them rebuild the temple so he could move back, because that village was totally demolished in the early days of the war in 1985. Lots of people were killed, and the people who survived, they had to leave the village and escape into the other parts of the country. So to make a very long story short, we financed that, and we sent some people up who built the temple, and that is now a village with 200 families. There's electricity, there's water, and they're back on their own home ground, growing their rice on the paddy fields. And to me, that's CSR in reality. This little guy on my right-hand side there, 2 years ago, this picture is from, he was almost 9 years old. He lives in a village close to our factory, and he was the best chess player in the world at the time. And they asked us, could we help him with some funding so he can travel the world and to the different tournaments? And we said, yeah, so we still help him with that. Why do we do that? It's a small thing for us. To him, it makes such a big difference. And I believe that he's a very talented young guy. And if he can inspire his peers in the village at school, I think then we have done something good for the society. So that's why we do these small things. Another example is, in the culture of Sri Lanka, drama and music and dancing is very prominent and very popular. So our employees, they ask, can we build a stage in the factory? And yeah, so they built, it's almost as big as this stage. And we bought instruments, so it's a fully equipped music studio. And believe me, they are fantastic, they're excellent, they are so talented. So if you work there a Saturday afternoon, you can hear when the work stops and the sewing machines are quiet, you can hear the chords of the guitars and the piano starting playing. And then they perform when we have functions. This really adds so much value to them. And this to me is being schysst, and you're having fun when you're working. Another example, find it with, on its own slide, because it's such a big project, that we are now 100% carbon neutral, planting trees in between Singaraya and Canelia rainforest in the southern part of Sri Lanka. 6,000 trees planted, and we are about to plant another 3,000 trees soon. Internationalization. We realized early we have a scalable business model. These are very large markets for us today. We moved into some of them very early. More coincidentally, we happened to know somebody who could translate it in Norwegian or German. What have we learned, and what do you need? Some advice that when you localize, I hear often that, oh, it's difficult, there are so many obstacles, we don't have the resources, we will do that tomorrow, we need to focus on our current business. But I think if you've identified a market where there's a potential, just find out about the obstacles, identify them, and create the strategy to get around that. And it's not that difficult. And that's what we do. So, for instance, we have recently decided, over the last 12 months, we've gone into Poland, Finland, and the Netherlands. And there are different obstacles in these markets. Identify them, work out the strategy, execute. So it can be done. And what you need to think about, I think, is some of the most important things is translations. Translate it into a decent level. It does not have to be perfect, but over time, improve. Otherwise, you will have your customers coming back with funny comments. Customer service in local tongue. Payment solutions, find out what is going, what is working in that particular market. The same thing with customs duties, logistical systems, transport companies, etc. It's not that difficult. Delegate, ask your best people to find out what's needed and do it. And also, when it comes to SEO and SEM, of course, you need to adapt to the local market. You have to find out about the search patterns and links and all that goes into SEO and SEM. Just do it. It can be done. These are our most recent markets, as I mentioned. Moving on, I think. Yeah, production. We have a unique manufacturing process. So we decided from day one again that we cannot buy this product from the outside because nobody knows how to do it. The algorithm that we have developed to make the patterns so we can make fitted costumes or shirts or trousers or chinos to everybody, we have developed ourselves. We cut and we sew in a different way. So that's why we decided to do it ourselves. But it has given us so many good things over the years. We can manage and control working conditions, salaries, insurances, flexibility in working hours, overtime, all those things that are important, all the technical things in the factory. We manage that, and I'm happy with what we have. Quality, of course, of the product. We are on top of that because it's our own people. We have hired everybody, we train them, and we are there very often. And there's a lot of pride, or what did you say? They are very proud to deliver quality from our factory. I think it would have been difficult to require that from an outside partner. Lead time, again, we prioritize, we manage. Environment, yeah, we're on top of that. We take the decisions how to manage it. And product development, same thing. If our product manager has an idea, want to develop a new stitching, a new color or cuff or whatever, we order that, and a couple of days later we have it. It's very quick. And it's a lot of fun. It's within your own company, it's colleagues in your own company you work with. It is great fun. This is from 2006 when Magnus and Matsula and myself, I'm the tall guy, standing in, we bought a piece of land where there were coconut trees, chopped down the trees, sent in an architect, an engineer, and we built this factory. And we had to finance that with local loans from local banks, and we spent I don't know how many meetings with banks, and we drank an enormous amount of tea negotiating the first loan of $200,000 just to get this off the ground. Today, this is the factory, the way it looks. This is where we produce everything. And here's Ramesh, just an example of one of our oldest and most experienced tailors and cutters. Finally, corporate social responsibility is part of our grand values. It's part of our way of doing business. We have, of course, a code of conduct that we've shared with all our suppliers. We are, as I mentioned, carbon neutral. We have got certified. That's one of the highest requirements when it comes to environmental certification. It stands for Global Organic Textile Systems. And we have extensive programs for our employees and for the local society where we get engaged. We support schools and we have volleyball courts and a lot of things. Can't go through them all. And we strive to be an employer of choice. I think that's a very good target to have in the local arena. And I think quality, as I say here, quality in human relations, working conditions, and indeed product quality is in the end more important than having the lowest price. You can always go to a cheaper market and produce, but I think what we have built here is giving us so much back. I want to share this with you. Now it says time's up, but here we go.
At Tailor Store, you design your own clothes, online, tailor-made for you, at a price everyone can afford. We are reinventing the textile industry by building our own factories, employing our own tailors, caring for them, and for the society they live in, providing education, music lessons, sports events, and much more. A great product starts with us taking great responsibility. You should forget about small, medium, large. Your size is one of a kind. With our unique measurement technology, Size Me, your clothes will fit perfectly, every single time.
There is no longer a need for standard sizes. You just need to input your neck size, your weight and height. And from that, we can calculate the rest of your body measurements based on profiles from hundreds of thousands of customers.
By planting new rainforest, we are compensating for our carbon footprint, and we are 100% carbon neutral. Design your clothes online and have them tailor-made. You will get individual clothes that will make a difference.
And that's it. Design your clothes online.
So, first of all, we want to thank you so much for sharing your story, but also, I was wondering, I mean, you're dealing with so many different parameters, your neck size, your chest size, all these different, so how do you put them together? Is that a very complicated process?
Yes, it is, and I think I mentioned we have an algorithm that handles that is developed internally, so it's part of our company secret, if you want.
Okay.
So we make a pattern that, or let me express it this way, we don't have a pattern. Every single garment is a unique pattern.
Okay.
And we calculate that, and we have constructed that ourselves.
So how long did it take you to develop this sort of algorithm for it, for making sure?
Well, the first algorithm Magnus developed back in 2003-04 when we launched the program, and then we have changed that a couple of times, fine-tune, you know, to make it fit even better. And now recently we have done it for costumes.
Okay.
And so it's something that we were. He's a clever guy. He's a mathematician. You know all the maths and all that. So, but again, it's something that we own and we have developed ourselves.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We all loved it. Fantastic. So have a good trip home.
Thank you very much.